Hello, and I welcome Mr. Govinda Yadav, who is working as a manager at Power Grid Corporation. Welcome, sir, and thank you for taking out your time to give this interview for our channel LegalEdge After College. Sir has joined Power Grid Corporation in the year 2015, and he's currently working as manager in the law field at Power Grid, that is a PSU. Sir, please, can you briefly give your introduction that how you joined it and what was your journey behind the entire process?
First of all, thank you so much, Yuvakshi and the team, for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to connect with several aspiring candidates for CLAT and positions advertised by various PSUs this year. As you have already briefed, my name is Govinda Yadav. I'm currently working as Manager Law at Power Grid Corporation of India Limited, and I'm based at Nagpur. I did my initial education from Bilaspur, Chhattisgarh itself. Then I went on to do my bachelor's from Hidayatullah National Law University, Raipur. In 2015, since I wanted to do my master's, I appeared for CLAT. My objective wasn't really to appear and get a job at a PSU. But since I'll say I was lucky enough to get a decent rank. I took admission at Nalsar, Hyderabad first. But within a month of joining at Nalsar, Hyderabad, I got an interview call from Power Grid and ONGC. So I appeared for that interview, and somehow, with God's blessings, I was able to crack that. And I've been with Power Grid since 2015. In 2020, again, then I took a break for a year and did my master's from National University of Singapore in International Arbitration Dispute Resolution. That has been my journey so far. That's it.
Okay. So, sir, like it's a dream come true for every aspirant. आपने पहले क्लैट दिया, पहले आप HNLU से अपना ग्रेजुएशन किए, फिर आपने क्लैट पीजी में अपियर किया. उस टाइम पे आपके पास दो चॉइसेस थी कि आप LLM कंटिन्यू कर सकते थे अपना नालसार से, एंड साथ में आपको PSU का कॉल आ गया. तो बहुत सारे बच्चे कंफ्यूज होते हैं कि हम क्लैट से PSU तक का अपना जर्नी कैसे कवर करें. तो आपने अपनी वो जर्नी कैसे कवर की? लाइक व्हाट वाज द प्रोसेस? पहले क्लैट का रैंक आता है, सो व्हाट वाज द प्रोसेस एट दैट पर्टिकुलर पॉइंट, एंड आपने क्या फैक्टर्स कंसिडर किए व्हाइल डिसाइडिंग कि मैं पावर ग्रिड ज्वाइन करना चाहता हूँ एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम?
See, the process is pretty much very simple that you apply for CLAT. So this year, the applications will be open. I think it's already open in July. It'll go until October. Then there are separate vacancies which are notified by different PSUs. So Power Grid has notified this year. So their vacancy, I think, will open in some time. Window is in November. So after the closure of the CLAT's window, you apply separately for the PSU. That's the most important thing. Even if you don't want to join as in any particular PSU, I think it's to be in a safe choice, at least to have a choice. I'll suggest that you apply for the whatever PSUs are, they have vacancies. So I did that. I actually did not. I was not even aware about Power Grid before appearing for CLAT. I applied for that, and the choice is pretty easy for me. If you join a PSU, you can still complete your education after in a midway. For example, Power Grid or any other PSUs, you can take a study leave. After completing certain year, you can take a study leave and do your master's. That's what I did. I completed my 4 and 5 years in the company, and then I took a sabbatical of an year and did my master's, which was my objective. But since I was doing it from Nalsar, which is sort of the best in the country right now when it comes to doing the post graduation, and I had left that, then for me it did not make sense to do it again from the country. That's why I went outside and thought of doing it from the better
So
place.
basically, pursuing your LLM after joining the job did not hamper your job at all?
No, absolutely not. As in, even that period will be counted as a continuous service. So it does not hamper your promotion or pay anything or seniority in the. It's the same.
All right. ओके. सो अनदर थिंग भैया कि आप लोग सॉरी सर, आपने बेसिकली अपना प्रिपरेशन किया, फिर आपने ज्वाइन करा पावर ग्रिड को. उसके बाद आपकी लाइफ कैसे चेंज हुई? ग्रेजुएशन करने के बाद सडनली एक पीएसयू में जाना, व्हाट लाइक हाउ योर लाइफ चेंज्ड आफ्टर जॉइनिंग पीएसयू? जॉब सिक्योरिटी होती है या ऐसे क्या फैक्टर्स आपने फील किए आफ्टर जॉइनिंग पीएसयू?
See, God has been really kind, I'll say. Life after joining a PSU has been amazing. As in, if you look at my background, I come from a very humble background. Um, Before my father's, if I look at 7 generations, where nobody saw the face of school. So my father was the first generation who could graduate. So coming from that kind of a background, going to university like National University of Singapore, I could only make that choice because I had a job like
Correct.
Power Grid. I could have never imagined me going to a university like that and doing an education. So joining PSUs give you that kind of a confidence and that kind of flexibility. The flexibility is most important. The stability that you get, the kind of salary that they offer. Apart from the salary, the kind of work that you're actually doing. It is not that you're just drafting in a vacuum or you are advising in a vacuum. Whatever that you'll do, whatever that advices that you'll make, it will have a real impact. You need to also see the size of the company. Power Grid, for example, it's a company of 45,000 crore revenue, a profit of around 15,000 crore a year. That's huge.
Right.
There are very few companies in the country. So if I was a fresher at 23, I was given an opportunity to deal with such complex legal problem, which no other company in the country, I can assure you, will offer. It's only the PSUs who will give you that kind of an opportunity, particularly PSUs who have a small legal team. The advantage with Power Grid is that they do not have a very huge legal team. So everybody who comes in will get a sufficient amount of opportunities, to sharpen their skill and to demonstrate the legal knowledge that they have acquired over the years. So it is, I think for me, I'll say the Power Grid is the best organization in the country. They look after their employees. They care about you. You'll feel that you are really cared, and there are very few country as in cities where you can be posted. So with Power Grid, as a law person, you can only be posted at 10 different cities. All these 10 different cities are either a capital city or a tier 2 city or a metro city. It's not very far or very remote. So that's an advantage. You can take care of the family. You can send your children to a good place. So those things give you, the confidence, and puts your life.
So basically, you have a good work-life balance also, and you can focus on your personal and professional life at the same time.
Yes.
After joining. Okay. Another thing, sir. After qualifying, like after getting a All India rank in CLAT, what is the next stage to be selected in a PSU? Like what rounds you appeared, interview round. So what tips you can share to our aspirants to prepare for the interview round? And what is the process? Do they share their merit list first after, like you fill up the form of CLAT, then you fill the form of Power Grid, like it's notified right now. So after that, what will be the process which the aspirants will have to go through?
Okay. See, so I'll try and talk about specifically for Power Grid and specifically with respect to Power Grid's notification this year. And also try to give a general perspective as to how the other PSUs do it. So this year, Power Grid has notified 9 positions. Out of this 9 positions, 6 are for unreserved, 2 are for OBCs, and 1 for SC. Correct? Once you are done with your CLAT, Power Grid will not give you any particular merit list. They'll give you an individual call for interview.
Okay.
Now, how they do it is different PSUs have different formula. For example, general category, if they're notified 6 positions, generally Power Grid calls sort of four times for every position. So if there are 6 unreserved position, people up to general category ranking of 24 to 36, it's either 4 to 6. A multiplier of 4 to 6. This many people for that particular category will be called. OBC, if there are 2 positions, then OBC ranking as in sort of 8 or 12 will be called. And then after you get the interview call, there are 2 things that take place. First is a group discussion. And then there's an interview. 85% weightage is given to your CLAT ranking, as in CLAT marks.
CLAT marks.
There's a qualifying for CLAT mark as well, and 40. You need to score 40% at least, but that anyway does not make any sense because you have to be in top 20 or 25. So you are anyway going to get that. That's not much of a significance. But apart from this, there's 3% weightage to the GD, and 12% weightage to the interview. And now the interview is also qualifying. So in interview also you have to score 40%. So even if you might be the first rank in the CLAT, but that does not ensure your spot at a Power Grid or any other PSU. You still have to demonstrate that you have it in you, which is a right fit for the corporation, because they are going to, people are, as in people, particularly PSUs, they are not hiring you for 2 to 3 years. They are hiring you for next 30 years. So you are a most valuable sort of an asset for them. So they are not going to invest their 30 years unless and until you demonstrate that confidence that you have that thing in you, and you are the right fit for the culture that the corporation has. So that needs to be demonstrated at that interview stage. In GD, all they'll give you a random topic.
Okay.
You will be given 10 minutes to first write on that topic, and then next 10 minutes will be you have to discuss. In interview, obviously there are several things. The only thing that the people see is how you will behave in a meeting like setup.
Okay.
Whether you know how to convey your points, how receptive are you to the points of other, and whether you are able to conclude, reach to a some decent conclusion, which in a normal corporation setup it's expected. So that's all those things are. And then in the interview, uh, there is no bandwidth actually. You can't say what they'll ask. In interview, they can ask
So do we
pretty
have
much.
specific questions in the stream of the area the PSU works? Like, can students expect specific questions from those areas?
See, the basic thing is, you obviously, anybody who's appearing for an interview need to know the corporation, the area that they're working on, and the laws that they within which they operate. That is the very basic thing. You obviously take it that you appear for any PSU, they are going to ask question on labor laws, because
Okay.
that's the most common thing. You can expect that they are going to ask question on constitutional law. For a corporation like Power Grid or ONGC, they might ask. They usually do not ask very specific about the laws that they operate in. However, you need to know what are the laws that are operating, and if there is anything particularly going on recent developments in those particular law, then you ought to know. Like for example, we are the transmission company. No, we are mostly governed by Electricity Act and the Indian Telegraph Act. There is an amendment which is going on in Indian Telegraph Act. So it's a possible question that they might ask you, whether whether the bill is passed or not, what is the stage, is it notified yet. So those kind of basic questions you can expect. But most of the PSUs will give you that flexibility, as in they can ask you anything. But usually, what I've seen is they'll ask you what are the subjects that you think you are good at, and then there you have to give one or two options which you are really confident of, because they'll ask you what they want to ask you, but they'll also give an opportunity, to
To
ask you
decide
from the
that
subject.
which
Yes,
subject you want to be grilled,
yes. So
basically.
they'll ask questions from those subjects as well. So you
Okay.
can have that.
So another thing which basically students usually think कि हमें experienced होना चाहिए to get into a PSU. ये common FAQ है जो मैंने students के बीच में देखा है कि experience matter करता है. तो आपको क्या लगता है कि prior experience matter करता है before appearing for interviews into PSU?
See, so for few PSUs, they give preference to the job experience, but they also write then in the advertisement that they make. For example, ONGC, whenever they notify their position, they always say the preference will be given to the people having experience. But that is not the case with Power Grid.
Okay.
Power Grid, as far as I know, they'll give you equal opportunity. I was a fresher. I had no experience. I passed out in 2015. I got the job in 2015. So, and most of my batchmates that I have, none of them had experience. So I'll not say that experience, you need experience to get into PSU. Not so. It's all about the personality. It's all about the legal knowledge, your academic background, and ability to demonstrate that you can do multiple tasks. As in, your CV should not be blank.
Right.
Your CV
So
needs to demonstrate that you can handle multiple tasks.
So
But
what exactly, sir, you feel that CV, like students do ask these questions from us that हमारे CV में क्या होना चाहिए? What kind of internships should be there? What kind of do we have to do some kind of certificate courses? So what do you suggest to the students that if they see their future in PSU, how they should develop their CV around the graduation period?
see, I'll not say that it is not like a law firm thing with a PSU that you need to have a CV particularly aligned to the area that you want to practice. It doesn't work with PSU. It doesn't work like that. Uh, I'll not even say that the CV is not important at all. CV is of course important, but like I said, CV is important to demonstrate that first of all that you have a certain decent academic sharpness. You had a decent academic background. That thing needs to be reflected from the scores that you did in 10th or 12th, or in the bachelor's. Apart from that, the most important thing is co-curricular or extracurricular things that you did. Like I said, they'll see that if you're able to do multiple tasks or not. It is not necessary that you have done 10 internships. That's not important, but I'll say whatever that you have done, it's more important that you use those things as an example to answer the questions that they'll ask in the interview. For example, there's a very frequent question that they ask that if we select you, would you be comfortable positioned at certain and certain place for example, for a very remote place, for example, Shillong. I was asked a question whether all my life I've been at Chhattisgarh. Right. Because my basic education is from Bilaspur. I did my bachelor's as Raipur. So very, very common question I was asked was, if we place you at Shillong, how will you be comfortable? There I use my internship experiences to demonstrate that I've done internship at various places, and these places are not in Chhattisgarh. I've done internship at Dehradun. I've done internship at Mumbai. I've done at Delhi. I've done at Bangalore. So I've showed them I was comfortable enough to work at these places, and therefore I'll be comfortable enough to work at wherever you post me. So it's more important to use whatever that you have written in the CV to back your answers, rather than writing everything in the CV, or writing something which you have not done. Whatever you have written in the CV, you should be very thorough with it. If you've written a paper, particularly if you've written a paper which relates to their area of work, or which could be could be of their interest, then you need to be very thorough. Even if you might have written that long back, but if it's in your CV, then you need to be very thorough with it.
So CV, basically, we can conclude that is one of the area from where questions can come across in the interview section.
Absolutely.
All right. So anything else you want to suggest to the upcoming aspirants as a strategy which they should adopt for CLAT or for entry level in the PSU?
See, for CLAT, I'm sure you guys might be the better people to guide them. But I think, as far as I know, it has become very the paper is very dynamic. It's very the questions when we appeared was very static.
Right.
It wasn't on the recent case laws. But right now, what they're testing is your ability to comprehend and apply your analytical skill, and that too particularly in the light of recent developments.
Correct.
So those things, with respect to the GD and the interview, I'll say, see, you need not worry too much about the interview, because there's no amount of preparation which will ever be enough. But be sure, if you are there, till the stage of the interview, then you're good enough. That's why you're there. So you need to believe in yourself first. You are good enough. That's why you're there. And your legal knowledge, whatever that you have learned for the 5 years, are going to help you. It is it cannot be, you can't prepare for a week or 15 days. It is the preparation of those 5 long years, which is ultimately going to, help you through. With respect to GD, of course, there are several tricks you can use. You need to be, there are 4 or 5 very basic tricks with respect to GD, because GD, as you know, when I appeared for PowerGrid GD, that was the first GD that I appeared for. And then that'll be the case with most of the people. Most of the people might not have done GD ever. So, people panic. So you need not panic, because GD is not qualifying here. Right. Even if you do not do well in GD, that's okay. If you're able to impress people in the interview, and if you're able to score more than 40% in the interview, that's good enough. GD is just for screening. Right. All that they will able to see is they'll just see who are the people who are recognizable. It's sort of like a person who was training me for the GD gave me a very good example. If you have cleared your CLAT, and if you're there for the interview, it's all diamonds. So GD is all about which diamond is shining more.
Correct.
There are very basic tricks, like who will be the person who takes up the initiative to start the argument? Who are the people who are more receptive now, who are able to help other people, to make up their voices or to convey their points? Who are the ones who are able to include not just for themselves but for the entire table? Like for in my interview, I did not get the opportunity to start because other person took the initiative and he was good with it. But I took the opportunity to conclude for the entire table. I did not conclude for myself. When everybody was concluding for themselves, I concluded for the entire table. So those kind of small things makes a difference. So that's and I'll just at a general interview, like, have fun with the interview. No need to take too much stress. Just believe in yourself, and I'm sure you'll be through it.
Thank you so much, sir. And this interview will help lots of aspirants who are struggling as to the selection process of PSU and specifically Power Grid. Thank you so much once again from the entire team of LegalEdge After College for taking out your valuable time for this interview. And hope we'll see you in future, and we'll hope that you will guide our students in the future as well.
Thank you so much, thank you for inviting.
Thank you so much. हाँ ठीक है भैया.